Collingwood just beat Brisbane Lions in the grand final last season. So the question going into this year is, can they go back to back? In this video, I'm going to cover how you can approach betting on Collingwood this season, where they need to improve to go back to back, and how overall I think they're going to go. But most importantly, how you can make money betting on them throughout the season. So we do a quick review of Collingwood last season. They were ranked seventh in attack and third in defense. So as I've spoken previously in other videos, you do need to be a high rated side both in attack and defense. Teams where they're lopsided one extreme or the other, it's very difficult for those teams to win premierships. So you'll also see Brisbane, who made the grand final, ranked in third in attack and fifth in defense, where it seems like St Kilda are ranked second in defense and 16th in attack. It's obviously a key area for them to improve. So Collingwood are balanced on both sides of the ball. One thing that they did get away with a lot last season is close game wins. So these are the games that were decided by 12 points or less. Out of those 10 games, they won 9 of them. And back in 2022, they won 11 of 14 decided by 12 points or less. So over the past couple of seasons, they've been very good in those close matchups. But what we see over the years is that tide starts to turn. Teams have been winning a lot of those close games. It starts to flip the other way. So this season, the betting companies alone are expecting that Collingwood will drop back a little bit. Last season, they won 18 regular season games. The win-loss season over under for the number of games they're going to win is set at 15.5 this year. So even though, it's moved up from 13.5 that it was for 2023 to 15.5, it's still, 2.5 points below the amount of games that they won last season. And that's largely due to this factor. When you're predicting how many games a team's going to win and how their performance is going to go, paying attention to games that won by small margins, how many games they should have won based on the Pythagorean are things you want to pay close attention to. So I think they're going to drop back a little bit. I actually have Collingwood winning 15 games this season. I think they're definitely still a top 4 side because they are balanced both sides of the ball. That'll go towards them winning a lot of games, but can't see them winning the premiership this year. One interesting thing that's going to really be helpful from a betting perspective is last season when Collingwood were favorite, they averaged 88.6 points per game, whereas when and conceded 68.3, totaling 156.8 points on average. However, when they were an underdog, they actually averaged 14 points more per game. They're averaging over 100 points and conceding 108.5. So games when they're an underdog were totaling 211 points. So that's much, much higher than games when they are a favorite. So that's something to really keep in mind for the games this season when Collingwood come up as an underdog. Last season, there was 3 situations where they were an underdog. They are a favorite in 23 of their 26 games. So that's one thing I'm going to be paying close attention to. Also, last season, Collingwood started very well. They won 7 of their first 8. Then through the mid part of the season, won 6 of 7 games. A little bit slow through the final 7 rounds, but then obviously came through with some close wins, once again, in finals to win the premiership. This year, they're currently $5 odds to win the premiership, which I think it's definitely a touch under what the real odds should be. Every year there's a lot of people who want to just back up on the team that won it last season, and especially a team like Collingwood with big supporter base and a lot of hype around them. And we've seen this over the years, like Collingwood's one of the worst teams you can bet on a week-to-week basis in the entire league, up there with Hawthorn, because the public perception of those teams. One other thing I like to pay attention to as well is the schedule ranking. So last season, Collingwood had the 16th easiest schedule, so 3rd most difficult. This year, it's pretty much the same as 15th ranking, so 1 easier than we saw last season. So very similar from that perspective. So it's hard to see all that much improvement going into this season for Collingwood. Taking a look at their statistics. So in points forward, they're ranked 4th in the league. especially those numbers went up in those games where they were an underdog. Inside 50s ranked 11th in this category and 9th in shots and goals. So nothing really stands out from those perspectives. They were number 1 in goal accuracy, so they made the most of their chances, and they're ranked 2nd in opponent rebound 50 percentage. So that means that when they did go inside 50, teams did struggle to rebound that ball and get it out of there. 7th in marks inside 50. As we look through, their attacking efficiency ranks 2nd, so really good in that category, which goes alongside their opponent rebound rate. From a defensive perspective, ranked 3rd in points conceded, 1st in opponent goals, 4th in opponent shots on goals. So all really good numbers. They're ranked 2nd in opponent goal accuracy. So teams did miss opportunities against them. Didn't give up that many inside 50s. Were good at rebounding the ball out. They also don't give up many marks on the lead, only averaging 3.7 per game. So good numbers there. They're ranked 3rd in opponent goals per inside 50. So all really strong numbers, which you would expect for a team. They also rank 2nd in opponent disposals per goal. So that's a really good indicator of their defensive ability. Looking through disposals, kind of mid-pack for disposals and opposition disposals. Nothing major stands out. They did rank 13th in contested possessions. However, opponents didn't really get many contested possessions against them either. So nothing major through there. Weren't a breakout clearance team or anything like that. So they definitely just were a consistent team of taking their chance. They're efficient at both ends of the ground is probably how I would sum it up, which is very, very important to winning games. Like these efficiency ratings are some of the ones that I pay the most attention to when I'm analyzing an upcoming game. Now, taking a look at their betting trends from last season. So in 2023, against spread, Collingwood had a losing record, only covering 12 of 26 games. At home, only covered 5 of 15. Losing record as a favorite, especially as a home favorite. Did have a winning record as an away favorite, though. Small favorites, they weren't really good in that situation as well, but were winning those games. And then from a totals perspective, they are an over team last year. 15 of 26 went over the total. All 3 games, which I mentioned as an underdog, went over, hence why they're averaging 211 points per game. And night matches also did go over the total. Interesting also, the final part of the year, 7 of their last 8 games in the home and away season went over the total. So that gives you a good indication on how those go. And then I like to track those throughout the season. Going into this, looking at the margins as well, 15 of their 21 wins were by 1 to 39. All their losses were by 1 to 39 as well when you're betting on those margin markets. And looking at their total points, their most common score was between 76 and 90 points. Not like nothing else aside from that stood out. Opponents, the most common score was between 0 and 60 points from those total point band margins. And then the overall match points were either 0 to 150, which was the most common, or next most common between 161 and 180. So that gives you a good indication on the scoring and the margins for Collingwood games. But overall, going into this season, I think they're going to drop off a little bit from last year, win a few less close games. They're going to be right there at the end of the season. Definitely going to be a semi-final and likely prelim final team. And just depending if any other teams really hit form at the right time, I think Collingwood would be one of the teams to drop out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this preview of the upcoming season for Collingwood. We're going to be doing previews like this, looking at the betting trends and statistics for every single team. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and check for those other videos for your favorite team so you can make money betting on the AFL this season.